Hello, Professor. So Amy Goins here, and I am going to be attempting to do an audio file upload for our final reflection. So I see the prompt here is what I have learned about the writing situation and process in 102. So there is a lot of things I have learned this quarter regarding the writing process, especially when it comes to clarity, organization, and support. I'm going to start this video by talking about the organization of a paper and what I have learned about how you want to have your introduction really be what the paper is about with a strong defining thesis statement at the end. And then each supporting paragraph should ebb and flow into one another so that it's an organized paper that really trails into the next topic at hand regarding what the thesis statement is. And then a strong final conclusion paragraph, which is always good. So that's what I've learned about organization, and I feel I tried my best, and I feel that as far as going from one part to the next, I accomplished that the best I could with my understanding of it. The support part of writing a paper is probably the part that I think I struggled with the most. Finding research sources or just finding sources in general for your information for writing research paper, any kind of a paper that requires citations, is a little difficult. I really worked with the online library at SCC, and I found several different sources, but then I also looked at your notes regarding how some of them weren't exactly the best kind of sources. And so I did actually email the gentleman that you suggested I email to reach out for finding additional resources for site information. And he unfortunately didn't get back to me. So I kind of just, I went with a different direction. And so I tried to find credible sources with .orgs or .govs instead of .coms and all that stuff that we're not allowed to use because anybody can post anything if it's a .com. So as far as finding information, I feel that I learned a lot about how to really explore the library database through SCC. But as far as citing sources, citations has never been my strong suit. It's like I've watched YouTube videos on how to correctly cite, and I have read articles, and I have discussed it with other students and with other professors in the past, and just something about citations just doesn't click with my brain. Like my writing style is more freestyle, it's more creative writing, it's not research organized citations and all that MLA formatting, which I think I did okay with the MLA formatting, at least I hope I did. So that's as far as support, what I've learned. And then let's see what else. Sorry, I lost my notes here. Oh, so then as far as when you're writing, you really have to watch specific like word choice. You've got to have your grammar and your punctuation be accurate, and then you have to really kind of work on your I'm so sorry, I just like completely blanked on my notes. I got them all kooky dukes over here. So that's when it comes to writing. But then when you're speaking and like the rhetoric of the spoken language, then that's a little bit different because the tone of voice, your body language, the inflection of your voice, those are all different ways to communicate what you're trying to get across to an audience, or in this case, my professor. And so those are tools that can help you go from what you want to express verbally to what you're trying to express on paper. if you give what you're writing on paper like a tone of voice, or the overall tone of a paper, then it becomes, in my opinion, more of an interesting thing to read, which I think can kind of grab the reader's attention a little bit better. So then you're not just reading this like humdrum blah 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 paper. Let's see. Okay. Oh, so specific details and examples that I can discuss. So I think I've talked a little bit about my research paper so far. And the research paper was a little bit more of a challenge for me because like I said, I am more of a creative writing student. But I enjoyed the topic, and I really liked that we had to review our peers and then get that criticism back, because the two students that reviewed my paper really had some good points to it, and I tweaked a couple of things in my paper to kind of go along with what they were saying. And I didn't even realize how many punctuation and grammar errors I had in my paper until I read that peer review. So that was really good for me to go through and really edit that. All right, well, I'm at about 6.5 minutes here, so I don't want to bore you too much. But I think other than that, I mean, I really loved writing the paper on the TED Talk, because it was interesting to be able to find a topic that I found interesting to write about. And then I really also enjoyed the poem about Brooklyn Heights and how the method works for writing, where you can sit there and find what's repeated and what's not repeated, and so what, like, what's the whole point of the poem, what's the whole point of what you're writing about, like, what's the so what. That I really enjoy, because it made me stop and think about what I'm writing before I write it. Like, it's not just freestyle blah 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 blah, it's so what are you writing about, what is the point of this whole thing, what is the point of everything. So I think that's about all I have. I apologize that this went to about 7.5 minutes, and I really enjoyed this quarter. So thank you very much for being my professor and for being so lenient with me being sick and with everything else that's gone on this quarter, this year, actually. So take care and have a good rest of your holiday season.